Some local activists are pushing for a stronger response to climate change. Their goal is to work for less investment in fossil fuels and more in alternative energy, including renewables. To tell us more is our guest from the 350 Mass Divestment Campaign, James Michel. Thank you very much for being with us, James.
My pleasure. Thank you.
First of all, to talk about the urgency that's involved here, why something different has to be done pretty soon, if not last year.
Well, 30 years ago would have been great. We are running out of time, according to scientists. We've already experienced a 0.9 degree centigrade, 2.5 degree Fahrenheit warming of the planet on average. That's unequally distributed. We have set as a race, as a human race, a 2 degree limit to global warming, which in fact is a pretty outrageous and horrifying prospect. Why do we have to get this done? Because we're not going to be able to feed 8 billion people, because we're going to see more devastating storms like Hurricane Sandy, like the typhoons in the Philippines, and one might argue, I mean, the kind of snow events that we've been seeing here in Boston, which are linked to warming oceans, more moisture available for those kind of things. So yeah, no, the more you read, the more alarmed you are. I mean, we're melting the great glaciers and ice sheets in Greenland, in the Antarctic. This is urgent.
Well, you're also contending against another cry of alarm, which is about the cost of electricity. And, you know, there are industry groups and even the commission put together by former Governor Patrick saying that, well, it looks as if you're just going to have to get more natural gas in here.
Well, the problem with natural gas is it is a fossil fuel, and in fact, and it's a greenhouse gas. I mean, it's a greenhouse gas which is a little bit shorter acting, but way more potent in terms of trapping heat. And I don't think anyone should trust the industry when it says, oh yes, we're doing a great job, nothing leaks. I mean, I don't believe that's true. Studies have shown that as much as 17% of the gas that is harvested through fracking escapes sort of during the extraction process. We know that there are a lot of leaks around the city of Boston right now. You know, you can see that from satellite images. So that's not the solution. And certainly expanding pipeline capacity at this point means making a commitment to that form of energy. I would say if we're going to spend $3+ billion to expand pipelines, why not invest that in renewables, in solar?
Well, there are promising alternatives, but there is the problem of the timetable for things. I mean, there are some things that might work out later, you know, and I know people in West Roxbury don't want another pipeline going through their neighborhood either.
I'm with them.
But you know, that technology is right there right now. You can put down a pipeline and there's the gas.
Well, the solar technology is here right now too, and the wind in Europe is providing, you know, a big chunk of their energy. I mean, Great Britain is doing well with that. Germany, which is sort of the same, is it latitude? What's the flat ones?
They're about as far north as
there you go. You know, I mean, they're getting a huge chunk of their total energy from solar. We could do that. I mean, here in Massachusetts, we should do that. We don't have any gas. We don't have oil, but we have plenty of sunshine and we have plenty of wind.
Well, one of the other things that your campaign has done recently is champion Cape Wind as a source of energy. They've been having financial problems recently. The utilities are trying to bail out on them. So can they be really resuscitated?
I hope so. I mean, I'm hoping that this is a renegotiation on the part of the utilities saying, you know, you're not gonna get as good a rate. But I mean, the point I would argue is we, the human race, face an existential crisis. We need to stop investing in a source of energy and a technology that we know is destroying the planet, and we do know that. And we need to shift. And how we do that and with what speed is a political sort of educational campaign.
Because the other thing you're trying to do here is not just have a scientific debate, but you're trying to leverage science with the force of political organizing. In other words, to make that know-how count, to make people act differently. So how does that work in your divestment campaign? What do you hope to see happen?
I mean, I think divestment, we all know that divestment in and of itself is not going to solve the problem. I mean, it feels to me like a first step, which is where we are as a people anyway. I mean, I saw a recent article about sort of the polling data on climate change, and I'm in the 15% that are alarmed and really, want to move by yesterday. But there's an equal sort of countervailing 15% that think it's all a bunch of hooey and deny it and so on. And then there's the great sort of group in the middle, the 70% that may lean one way or the other, splits basically along party lines, that don't see it as urgent. And that's who I'm trying to reach.
Because the other thing is about the politics around the economy, and I think a lot of people heard in recent presidential campaigns certainly that we don't want to lose jobs in coal because those coal miners, they work hard, they're dangerous jobs, and we don't just want to throw them under the bus. But on the other hand, the job potential in renewable and alternative energy?
It's enormous. I mean, I laud Governor Patrick. I laud our state legislature for passing the Global Warming Solutions Act, and that's a fast-growing sector of the Massachusetts economy, and it could be. I mean, it is even in places like North Dakota where they're doing wind power. I mean, it's renewables is happening. It's cheaper and cheaper. I emailed you an article recently from where a big institute in, I think it's Dubai, basically said renewables are the future, that the price of oil would have to get below $20 a barrel to compete economically with where solar is going to be, in the next few years. So, I mean, from my perspective, what's retarding us from making this shift, which is now, even in a market economy kind of based system, makes sense, is the politics. And we have a very powerful industry that is working hard to hold on to its power and its wealth, and is doing a good job of it. They're well organized. They're keeping those, the fingers on the scale, preventing what needs to happen, which I would argue is a massive public policy effort to shift to renewable energy.
And if people want to find out more about 350 Massachusetts?
We're 350.org, 350ma.org is the 350 Mass.